And we're back. I'm Michael Cohen. This is 1320 WILS. Well, as homeowners try to sell their properties in an unpredictable housing market, it's not only the price that can make the sale happen, many times it's simply how clean and organized the house looks. Realtors are now staging homes, which many times can play a key role in a successful sale. To talk about what that entails, I'm joined by Barbara Van Poole, the CEO of the real estate group Poole Properties. That's vanpooleproperties.com if you want to find her online. Barbara, thanks for joining us on WILS this evening.
Thank you, Mike.
Now tell me, when it comes to sellers versus buyers right now, do you tend to represent more of one over the other?
You know, year after year, our breakdown is 50%, 50%. So we're half buyers, half sellers.
I see. So you know both sides of the game. So
Absolutely. And with my real estate group, we close over 100 families' properties a year. So we are working with a lot of buyers and sellers.
I see. Well, it all comes down to actually closing the deal. In fact, tell me, how much does simple cleanliness of a home impact its sale, and what kind of steps do you typically take when you work with a homeowner to get their property ready for an open house or a sale?
Well, you know, the condition of the property is extremely important, and we find that we have basically 30 to 90 seconds to make a buyer fall in love with a house when they walk in it. And, of course, condition is a huge part of that. And it's everything from the drive-up appeal of the property to walking through that front door and how clean it is, how much it looks like a model home, how beautiful it is so that they can imagine themselves and their family there. And so we have all types of steps that we take with our sellers when we are advising them on how to prepare their home.
I mean, do homeowners typically then have a professional cleaning done of the carpets and other parts of the house?
Absolutely. And I know with our clients, we actually pay for an interior designer to come in and spend 2 hours with them, advising them on how best to stage their property. And that's everything from how to move the furniture around to how to declutter everything. We tell them clean out your cupboards, clean out your closets, take everything off of the countertops and off of the tabletops unless it is there for decorative purposes only.
I see. Now, typically then it involves removing items from the house. Do homeowners need to get some kind of a storage locker typically to put their things in?
Absolutely. And we advise our clients to rent a storage unit and clear everything out that isn't there for decorative purposes. And, you know, it's a great time just to go ahead and start that packing and move it on out.
What about personal style? You walk into a home and there's, I guess the owner has their own mark on things, the pictures they have on the wall and so on. Do you make a judgment call on that too?
Absolutely, and we ask them to remove all personal photographs. And the reason for that is we are trying to get the buyers to imagine their family there. And so what that means is that, you know, we're trying to get them to identify with the house and them to emotionally place their family in it. And if they're seeing photographs of the existing family, then it's that family's home. They can't imagine it being their family's home.
It's interesting. You say there's a 30 to 90 second window in which the buyer falls in love with a home. That's a very short amount of time. Then why is it so quick? And is it then just the front entry and the living room and so on that the buyer sees potentially?
Well, you know, we are very visually stimulated animals. And we basically make a very fast first impression. And when we walk through that front door, we are making a decision immediately on whether this feels like home or doesn't feel like home, and whether we can see ourselves there or not see ourselves there.
What comes to mind, too, is the smell of a home. There's got to be some effort made to make sure there's a nice, fresh smell in the house, right?
Absolutely. And cleanliness is part of that. But also, too, I know we advise our clients as well not to cook things there that when they cook them in the evening, you still smell them the next morning, because that spaghetti sauce might smell great at 7 o'clock when you're hungry for dinner, but it does not smell great for 10 o'clock in the morning when you're ready for breakfast. So we're saying, you know, if you're going to eat strong fragrance, lots of garlic, lots of curry powder or cumin or very strong spices, you are far better off eating those out while your home is listed and not cooking them at home.
I'm talking to Barbara Van Poole, the CEO of the real estate group of Van Poole Properties. Online, it's vanpooleproperties.com. Now, Barbara, you're down there in Texas. Where? What kind of area do you cover? Where do you sell these homes?
We are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we covered that entire Metroplex. Also, too, another thing that we advise our clients to do is to clear as much out of their master closet as possible and to actually color code it so that it looks extremely organized. And what this then says to the buyer when they walk into that master closet, and you would be surprised how many decisions are made standing in that master closet, because it's kind of like by then they've seen the entire house and they're standing there in the master bathroom or the master closet making a decision as to whether they're going to buy this property. But when they see that extremely organized, meticulous closet, it tells them that the house has been meticulously cared for. And so it actually makes them want to buy the home from this particular seller.
What about the exterior of the home, the backyard, and so on? How much effort can be and should be made by the buyer to spruce things up? I can't imagine they're going to be doing any major landscaping to prepare to sell a home, will they?
Well, it totally depends on the condition of the property when you walk into it. But that first impression they get from the street. So if they are driving up to the front of the house and the house is overgrown, the lawn is half dead, or it hasn't been cut or edged recently, it makes a huge difference. And then we also, advise our clients to put fresh flowers, close to the entry. And this also helps with the way that the property looks in photographs as well. You want brightly colored flowers there toward the front of the house because that makes it extremely inviting. And then you want to be sure that the backyard is, again, neatly manicured, which doesn't mean you need to go in and totally re-landscape, but it does mean whatever you have there should be trimmed up, should be weeded so that there are not weeds in the flower bed, so that the yard is, has grass in it, and so that it is mowed and edged.
Now, obviously, if you are able to sell your home quickly, that's a great thing. But obviously, the issue right now is getting a home sold, period. If a home has been on the market for a year unsold, and you come to take a look at it and everything looks fine, how do you deal with a price issue, and how do you make adjustments there?
Well, basically, when buyers are making a decision, they are looking at the location of the house, they're looking at the condition of the house, and they're looking at the price of the house. And those are really the three factors that you have to deal with. And if it is in good condition, if it is in a decent location, and you can't pick it up and move it, so the location is whatever the location is, once you are sure that the first two are in as good a shape as you can, you've got your existing location, you have already gone in, you've staged the house, you've made it look good, the photographs online are good, you have a professional realtor and they have done an excellent job marketing the property, then your only other variable is the price.
And how do you deal with that? If a home's been on the market at a certain price, has not been selling, what kind of an adjustment do you make, and how drastically do you slash it?
Well, normally when we come back in after another realtor has had the property for a while, the first thing, of course, we're going to do is stage the property or restage the property with our professionals. Then we're going to come in and have a professional photographer take the photographs. And then we're going to make sure that it is on, and for our clients in our area, we have it on over 50 websites that we then have that marketed on. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that we are showing it to its very, very best. And if there are some changes that need to be made to the condition of the property, then we're going to be advising our clients at that point that these are our suggestions on what they need to do. Then once we have it in as good a condition as we are able to get the property and that our clients are able to get the property, then we would start looking at the competitive market analysis to be sure that they are priced competitively with the market. And then if we've been on the market for a while that way, then we're probably going to try a couple of different things. We may try buyer bonuses. We may try realtor bonuses or both. and then we may start moving the price down.
I see. So it really sounds like adjusting the price is one of the very last things that you're considering.
Unless they have been just outrageously overpriced, because what we're going to do is a very intensive competitive market analysis so that we know exactly what has sold in that area, in that neighborhood, how long it's taken them to sell, how they were staged, how they were marketed, et cetera, so that when we're coming to the sellers, we're not just saying, oh, our opinion is such and such just because you've been sitting here. We're bringing a huge amount of information with us so that they are as educated as we can possibly make them on making a good decision for themselves and their family.
Okay, one last thing. With all the foreclosures that are out there, certainly many of them in Michigan, I'm guessing quite a few in Texas also, how does a home seller compete with in a neighborhood when there are maybe 2 or 3 other homes available that are in foreclosure? I mean, don't they tend to sell at a much lower price?
Again, it's neighborhood by neighborhood. We in Dallas are saying that in some neighborhoods the foreclosures are going for much less. If the property is in a really prime location and it's in prime condition, then sometimes we're actually finding that the foreclosures are selling above market value. So it totally depends. And if a foreclosure has been sitting there for a while or a foreclosure has been vacant for a while, it may not be in nearly as good a condition as our seller's property is in.
Barbara,
so again, you're competing, but you're competing for value for the dollar.
Well, it sounds like when it comes to buying and selling a home, it is all about looks, which is understandable. Barbara Van Poole, she is the CEO of the real estate group Van Poole Properties. That's vanpooleproperties.com down there in Dallas, Texas. Barbara, thanks so much for joining us on WILS.
Thank you, Mike.
And we'll be right back. I'm Michael Cohen. You're listening to 1320 WILS.